Okay, just let's get a confirmation of what we've been saying for the last hour or so on our projections, actually in a graphic. Let's have a look at what the current trend means in terms of projections. It's getting stronger and stronger wave in favor of the Aam Aadmi Party. It's really now consolidating its lead, and let's have a look at the forecast. This is what it looks like. Could go up to 50 seats, the Aam Aadmi Party. 50 out of 70 is a landslide. And the BJP could fall below 20 if this trend continues. And now more and more rounds have been counted. Of course, 20 seats still to come. But Dorab, 40 seats were phenomenal.
Almost reversing the Lok Sabha thing. 60-10, 50-20. I mean,
it's a huge change.
Huge change. Perhaps the biggest we've seen in any state for quite some time.
So, you know, Shopun, there are two kind of general criticisms when we went around Delhi, we found people talking about. One was that so far there's not been real action on the ground. Yeah. There's been a lot of promises, great speeches, great oratory, but we want to see action. So in that way, there's a lot of pressure on this budget.
There's a lot of pressure, but again, you know, it's a tough one, this one. You've had a spate of international reports saying India fastest growing, India's potential great, etc., etc.
Right.
But budget is again a series of announcements. So what you've done is you've created, perhaps, and as an economist you'll be able to say this, a foundation. But for it to appear on the surface, I think is proving longer than people initially anticipated. And I think that's, and they'll have to have the resilience to be able to handle this.
Stay the course.
Stay the course. And it's in this context that those extraneous noises, which are made by those
people. Because I'm sure somebody will say, where was the need to bring out these ordinances while the election was coming up? But the fact is that, as Shopun said, budget is just a set of announcements. 11 budgets have announced 49% FDI in insurance, right? 11 budgets, you know, going across parties, finance ministers, etc., and nobody has an argument against it, and yet you cannot do it. So I think there is a message also for mainstream parties now. I say mainstream parties which have a national stake, that they must let Parliament function. Because how did Anna movement begin? It began as an anti-politician movement. I would say the people like us who argued with it have won an intellectual argument now, because children of Anna movement are winning power through conventional politics. But if conventional politics does not reform, then I think you're back to losing that argument. So I think Congress and BJP also have to talk, all parties have to talk, and Parliament has to also respect the logic of numbers.
There's one more thing that we found when we were going around our campaigning here, reasons why people were worried. One was this lack of action, words to be converted into on-ground action.
Absolutely.
This result could have an impact on that. The other was that there's so many wild statements being made by fringe elements or not.
These extraneous noises.
Who everybody says that the Prime Minister is upset with, but hasn't come out and made a statement. Do you think this could lead to that, a statement to keep these people quiet?
Well, I think there is increasingly a case for something more demonstrative to show that the mainstream of the BJP does not necessarily support everything that is. So far, they've tried the tack of negotiations, try to placate them and say, look, hold on.
Just one second. Kiran Bedi, Ajay Markan, both trailing. Carry on. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
So that's that. There has to be something. I think because there is also a little danger that this might also overall vitiate the environment. And that has an impact even on
I think also Mr. Modi is projected as a very strong leader, right? So for him not to be able to say anything, it looks like he's either complicit or maybe he's not as strong a leader as he was made out to be.